Historically, horses have been indispensable to human societies. They have been used for transportation, agriculture, and warfare. They powered the exploration of new lands, facilitated trade, and played crucial roles in military campaigns. Over time, their role has evolved, but their significance in shaping human behavior remains profound. The fate of horses after they have served their purpose depends greatly on the circumstances and the care provided by their owners. This fate is particularly controversial and opposed by many animal welfare advocates. Hi, I'm Tej, and today on Chizuba Talks, I have Colleen Fitzpatrick. She is from Drifters Hearts of Hope, a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to rescue horses, and they are committed to circumventing the horse slaughter pipeline. Welcome to Chizuba Talks, Colleen.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to talk some more about horses today.
Absolutely. Horses are wonderful beings. And how did Drifters Hearts of Hope come about, and what is your mission?
Absolutely. So Drifters Hearts of Hope started in 2016 from a dream, basically. We had originally rescued a horse named Drifters from another horse rescue and loved the beginning of that and loved getting to know him and loved seeing what he could do to give back to other people and other horses as well. So it was really incredible to see how much of an impact he had. And then we recognized how much of an impact we could have through rescuing more horses just like him. Our mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome at-risk horses here in Colorado. So our goal is to ensure that horses yesterdays or tomorrows are more positive than their yesterdays, that they have safe, healthy, and happy homes to go to every day for the rest of their lives.
That is wonderful. And this started off as purely for rescue horses, right? I mean, you didn't have horses of your own earlier.
Correct. All of the Drifters horses are rescue horses. So we have about 40 rescue horses at any given time.
Wonderful. So, what causes these horses to be rescued? I mean, they're getting old, or they can no longer be taken care by the owners.
Many different reasons. So it can be anything from a health issue on behalf of the horse, a health issue on behalf of the owner, a behavioral issue with the horse, a life change with the owner, a move, all kinds of life circumstantial changes, as well as their work in a certain capacity running out. So they stop being a racehorse, or they stop being a horse at a dude ranch. They stop competing at a high level in jumping. And so once that wraps up, that often leads to a horse needing to be rescued. So we take in horses from a few different capacities. We go to livestock auctions where horses are sold to the highest bidder. We also go and rescue horses directly from their owners. Those are called owner surrenders. It's the same thing as dropping a dog off at a shelter. Same thing on the horse side, as well as we take in horses from dude ranches when they're retiring, which we call our Annie Project.
You mentioned behavioral issues. So what do you mean by behavioral issues?
So it's kind of think of horses and humans a little bit like a relationship. The horse and the human need to get along with each other. They need to have similar skills, kind of complementary skills to work well as a team. Sometimes a behavioral issue would be something like the horse bucking or rearing or going too fast for what the owner wanted. Sometimes it's tossing their head or not standing still when getting saddled. And so a lot of times there's an intersection of a horse that needs more experience and an owner that doesn't have that experience. So that training and that working with the horse can really help with the behavioral challenges. So we often see that mixture of a less experienced owner trying to work with a less experienced horse, resulting in both of them needing some more support to get to their goals.
Right. So once this goal is achieved, then the horse is returned to the owner, or the owner
Often,
says, okay, I've had enough of this and I can't take any more.
when a horse is surrendered, they do not go back to their original owner. Oftentimes,
Oh,
they are at the end of their rope with that horse, metaphorically, and so we'll take them in, rehabilitate, do any sort of training that's needed, and then help them find an owner that is more aligned with their skill set and what they're looking to do. And sometimes it's something like this horse wants to be jumped. They want to go and jump, and they want to do horse shows, and their owner wants to run barrels, and that's just not going to match the horses and the humans' goals are different. So
absolutely.
trying
Yes,
to find
yes.
that matchup.
Right. Got that part. And what is more challenging, the behavioral aspect or the ones that are, they come from these kill horses? What are these kill buyers? I've heard about this term. What are kill buyers
So
and what do they do?
yeah, so a kill buyer's intent is to purchase a horse to then sell them to slaughter or resell them under the threat of slaughter. So they would go to an auction and purchase a horse. Let's say they purchase a horse for $500. They would then post them on Facebook, on their website, and say, okay, if you don't rescue this horse for $1,000 by the end of the day, they're getting shipped to slaughter in Canada or Mexico. Because slaughter is outlawed in the contiguous United States, but so you can transport a horse across the border to Mexico or Canada. You can't slaughter a horse within the US. So they would use that threat to incentivize folks to then pay for that horse. So then they would make $500 in that example off of that horse, which they could then use to purchase their next one and then do the same thing. They also do have a quota of horses to ship to Canada or Mexico for slaughter. And that oftentimes people say, isn't that kind of similar to euthanasia? The horse is going to be put down. Why not send them to slaughter? What's the difference? It's very, very different. Euthanasia is usually done with an injection or with a gunshot, and it is done very humanely. It is not a painful experience. It's something very peaceful for the most part for that horse. And getting shipped to slaughter in Canada or Mexico, the horse is sitting on a trailer for, depending on where you are, a very long time. It could be 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours on a trailer, already traumatized, crammed in with a bunch of other horses. Often the horses show up injured. So they got kicked by another horse in the trailer because there were too many horses in a small area. The horse had an eye injury that was left untreated, and they just were stuck in a trailer for 30 hours with an open eye injury. And so a lot of times people think, well, why do I care if the horse is going to be put down anyway? And we call it like a mercy euthanasia. So, hey, it costs like $600 to euthanize a horse and then have them removed, and you could make $600 or $1,000 from sending them to slaughter. And the $600 that you pay to humanely euthanize the horse is worth it every single time, because they don't have to have that harrowing journey. They don't have to risk injury. They don't have to feel the pain of any injury that they currently have for longer. So the kill buyers, their goal is to use that fear, that knowing that people understand that, hey, this is a harrowing journey. This is really painful. This is really horrible for the horses, to get more money to then continue the process. And so our goal is to circumvent that and to get the horse before they ever get to the kill buyer's lot. So then the horse never has to go through anything there. They don't have to risk disease. They don't have to risk injury. They don't have to risk all of those things that they can have from, even if they get adopted or purchased from that lot, they still could have so many challenges in that time. So that's why with owner surrender programs, with auction pull programs, we're trying to get the horses before they ever get there.
It feels sad to know that everything is about money and everything is about how a person can gain. and nobody thinks about the horses, but you are there to help them out. So once a horse comes to you at Drifters HOH, how do you go about it? Is there a training period? Is there something where the staff, is allocated a particular horse? Do you have specialists for behavior or age related or trauma related?
Absolutely. So once a horse comes in, they are evaluated. How is their weight? How are their feet? How is their condition? Do they have any injuries? What needs to be treated? How can we help them? They make friends. Everyone gets a friend when you come in. You get a horse buddy,
How nice, a buddy.
so that you could, yeah, they get a buddy so they can hang out with their friend and go and spend time with them and have someone nearby, because it's scary. Many of these horses, they live somewhere else for years, and all of a sudden they're somewhere totally
Suddenly.
new. And they don't know where they're going. They just showed up. They're like, I'm at a totally new property. I don't know where I am. And so they get a friend and they get put on whatever sort of program they need to be rehabbed. Do they need more food? Do they need wound care? Do they need to see a veterinarian? Do they need to see a farrier? What do they need to be healthy? That's priority one. Let's get this horse healthy and happy. They get to spend time outside with their friends. And then we start seeing how they're doing under evaluation. So we'll see, how does this horse move? Do they show any signs of injury? Is their gait even? Do they show anything? I'm limping a little bit on this leg, or this leg doesn't seem as strong. So we'll evaluate for all of that. How do they do being brushed? Or is there anything that the horse is uncomfortable with? Do they not like having their feet picked up? Do they not like being touched in a certain place? Working on all of that, trying to get them comfortable with as many things as possible. And then we'll work with them on saddling. How comfortable are they with an English saddle, with a Western saddle? How do they move with the saddle? All of that. Once we're comfortable that we understand the horse, we understand how they're doing, we'll then start a riding evaluation. So how do they do being ridden? What sort of support or training do they need to be a safe horse for someone to ride? We start in a round pen, which is a small circular arena, nice and small and safe, and you have good supervision if the horse needs some extra support. Then we'll go into an indoor arena, an outdoor arena, out on a trail ride, and just evaluate the horse in a million different scenarios. Sometimes owners will say the horse does this when you do that, and we'll often go and try and look into all of those things too. Make sure that we fully understand the horse and what they're looking for. And then we kind of play horse cupids. We decide, okay, this horse wants to be ridden by an intermediate rider that rides Western and does mostly trail rides. And then we try to find that person that meets what the horse wants, because the horse is our customer, right? We want them to get what they need out of the relationship. They're our first priority. And that way we can make sure that they're happy and healthy and it's a lifelong fit. We want every horse to have a forever home and have people who want him regardless of what happens to the horse in the future. If they get old, if they get injured, if they do something spicy once in a while, we want someone who loves them regardless of anything that might come up in the future.
Let's take a break to understand what Chizuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state-of-the-art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chizuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chizuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chizuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chizuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. That is lovely indeed. Two questions arise here. First, when you say you match the horse with the person who is, a, that kind of person. So, how easy is this adoption process? And if the horse is not adopted, then is this the forever home for the horse? Because keeping
So,
a horse is an expensive affair.
yeah, horses are definitely very expensive. So the adoption process begins with an adoption application that can be filled out on our website. And we're asking folks about their riding experience, the property that they would be keeping the horse at, what they're looking for in a horse, and getting to know more about them. Once we have all that information, we invite the person out for a riding evaluation where they get to meet the horse they're interested in, watch one of us ride the horse first. Side note, my advice, if you're ever purchasing a horse, watch someone else ride them first. It's a good safety thing, just really good to see how that horse is before you swing a leg over and figure it out yourself. So they watch us ride, get to know more about the horse. They're welcome to take a video, take a photo, share that with anyone in that's helping them in the adoption process as well. And then they would be able to hop on the horse. They're also able to tack them up, brush them, put a halter on them, get to do all of that so they really understand more about the horse and their behavior and what kind of thing the horse is looking for too. So then they'll do a riding evaluation. We can do it in an arena. We can do it on a trail ride, just based on the person's preference. And then at the end of it, they can put down a deposit, which will hold the horse for 2 weeks, as long as all goes well. And then in that, we do a home check. So we check, make sure the property is safe for the horse. We check their references, which are often a veterinarian and a farrier. And then Colorado is a brand inspection state, which means that you have to show legal ownership of the horse, and then you have to transfer the horse based on their brand. So the name brand inspection came from how horses, especially previously, had fire brands. And so it'd say, okay, this is my brand on my horse. I'm selling my horse to this person. And so it's a clear kind of transition of ownership. And so you have to get a horse brand inspected before you can transfer ownership in Colorado. And so we do all that. And then at that point, the person would be able to pick their horse up, bring them home, and then just send us emails with updates and photos about how much they love their forever best friend. And then on the other side, so horses that don't get adopted quickly, we have many friends that take a little bit longer in the adoption process. Often they kind of become our favorites because they spend more time with us, and they just need a little bit more, maybe more training, maybe more food, maybe more vet care. And many, many, many of our horses find their forever homes at a point. It's not that everyone gets adopted in a month. Some take a year to get adopted, but we are very adamant that there is someone out there for everyone and that we will be able to find them. So oftentimes if a horse isn't getting adopted, we'll do more. Hey, can we post on more Facebook pages? Can we reach out to more people? Can we, do something like the other day, we had a horse that didn't have much interest in them. And so I rode her around carrying a Colorado flag, which shows, hey, this horse is really calm. You're super safe on this horse. And then a lot more interest came in for her because people wanted a really calm, really safe horse. So it's trying to find how to showcase that horse in a way that makes folks see how awesome they are.
Beautiful. I can see that you're so passionate about horses and training and making the right match. That's really beautiful. Horses have a way. I know of people who have horse therapy, who equine therapy. So do you offer such services at your place or do you train people?
We don't offer equine therapy, but many of our horses have gone on to become therapy horses. There's several therapy programs nearby in Colorado that will come and adopt horses for their programs because we take in retiring horses from dude ranches. So many of them are very calm and quiet and have been ridden by people of many different abilities, which often therapy often has folks of many different abilities and many different skill sets. And so those horses often do go on to be great therapy horses. And I do think anytime you're touching a horse, it's therapy. So I guess effectively all of our horses go on to do some kind of therapy work in the future.
Right. So I don't know, and this may be a very basic question, but can a layperson, somebody like me who doesn't really have much exposure to horses, when I see a horse, can the horse communicate to me?
Yes. So a lot of things, like if they put their ears back, they're not happy. They're upset about something. So that's a good thing to keep an eye out for if you're new to horses and you'd like to get to know them. Them coming towards you is often a sign that they're interested in connecting with you in some way. That's something that if a horse is coming up to you, I would definitely be much more welcoming towards the person going up and meeting them halfway and petting the horse. If you do ever want to approach a horse, go towards their shoulder. If you come at them, they can't see like right between their eyes. This is a blind spot on a horse. So if you want them to be able to see you, it's best to go to their shoulder and then pet their shoulder and then work your way up to their face so they can see you coming. Surprisingly, horses actually have a lot of blind spots. Like behind them is a blind spot, right in front of them is a blind spot. And so talking to them as you walk up is really helpful so that they know you're coming. And then horses really like being scratched. I think like dogs are more of like a petting motion. Horses like scratching. So, and if they are moving around a little bit, oftentimes they just they need to move for a second. So if they're moving around, let them move. But if they walk up to you with their ears forward, go ahead and give them a pet.
Lovely. I'll keep that in mind. Those are lovely tips. So, Colleen, do you have any particular horse that comes to your mind as being two? Okay, one being very, very difficult, and two going on to be the best horse that you have come across so far. I know you cannot be biased, but still.
Absolutely. We had two horses that come to mind, Uptown and Moppet. And so when Uptown came in, he was almost entirely unhandled, which meant that he had never had been haltered before. He had really never been brushed. He had never been interacted with. He had been kind of effectively wild, despite technically a wild horse is a Mustang, like out on a range. He's not a Mustang. He just was kind of effectively wild. And so he came in with no experience, none whatsoever. And we worked with him from the ground up, taught him everything, how to pick up his feet, how to be brushed, how to be walked from A to B and then come back. And then he went on to be one of the coolest horses ever. He was so much fun to ride, the kindest horse, so cool. And we took him to a horse show and he got first place in the horse show. Um,
Lovely.
because he's just this like big, stunning horse who came out and is so much fun. And I think everyone could see just how cool he was. And then his counterpart was Miss Moppet, who was at an auction where again like anyone can buy the horse. We purchased her from an auction and she gave birth the next day. Like she got into one of our facilities and gave birth and then took care of her baby and all went well. And then after that, she hadn't had much training. She was super young. Like she had the baby at like 2.5 years old, which is really, really young. And so she then went on to become an absolutely amazing horse, went to that same horse show as Uptown, was awesome. She now does all kinds of English riding. Her owner, both of those horses' owners, adopters love, love, love them. And they've had such awesome lives. But horses without training and both of them came in with really no training. Horses without training are the highest risk horses because they're the most expensive because you need to either know how to train a horse yourself or pay someone $1,000, $1,500 a month to train them. And you need at least a month or two of training for just the basics. And if you want like a fully trained horse, it's going to take way longer than that. And so that's really expensive. And people often, it's like that's a big amount of money to spend on a horse. A lot of folks can't afford it or want to spend money in a different way. And so those horses are the biggest for me because they went from at such a high risk to being such amazing horses.
Right. Lovely. So you've got a lot of memories there with the different horses, and you know, So, if a horse is looking for a forever home and the owner, the person who's trying to buy, so what kind of commitment do you expect the prospective buyer to, or the person who's going to adopt the horse? So, of course, there's property, there's space, there's, veterinary care, all of that. But apart from that, do you also evaluate or analyze the person who's going to adopt the horse?
So we require all of our horses to go under a contract, which says that they will take good care of the horse, that they will not sell the horse at an auction. They won't sell the horse to a kill buyer. They will contact us if they ever need to rehome the horse, because all of our horses have to go under our contract if anywhere they go. And we also ask the people about their plans for the future. So, hey, I know you're looking for this horse to do this kind of work. What's your plan once he's not able to? Once he gets too old or too injured and can't keep up with that workload anymore? What do you plan to do with the horse? What do you have the ability to retire a horse on your property or at another property? How can what happens if the horse does this or this? What's your plan? And oftentimes folks, things change. It's hard. So we do take back horses that we adopted out. So something happens and, something unforeseen happens, we'll always take the horses back. But we do try to emphasize that this is a forever horse. And it's kind of like, I adopted a dog. That dog is mine forever. He has gotten injured since I adopted him and he's mine forever. But the difference with horses and dogs is that, I can't sell my mutt online. Like, no one's going to buy my mutt dog, but horses have a resale value. Any horse could be sold for a certain amount, because that doesn't really happen in dogs. Dogs, like, if you don't want your dog, you send them to a shelter. Horses aren't like that. There's always the potential to sell them. And so to that end, we are really cognizant about the horse needs to be more than the money. And if there are financial concerns, because things always happen, please reach out to us. Please let us know, because we will take any horses back at any point. But we just ask that people try to let us know with as much notice as possible, because there's just so many horses in need right now that it can take a while to get horses into rescues.
Fair enough. And the last question here, Colleen, what kind of help or support does your nonprofit require, and uh, can it be addressed virtually?
Oh my gosh, so much help. So we are fully volunteer run. We all of our funding comes from donations, grants, and fundraisers. So all the money that we bring in has to do with people supporting our mission. And so that's super important. Virtually everyone is able to donate online on our website. And you can also do a bunch of other things online. You can connect your King Soopers card to us, which doesn't cost anything. And then anywhere you go shopping, we get like King Soopers donates a percentage of whatever. That's a grocery store, I think, in a good number of the states. And that's all donated back to us without any fees on the other side. There's also Colorado Gives Day, which is an annual fundraiser in December in Colorado, and Giving Tuesday, which is usually in late November, which are awesome ways to give back. You can donate to us on PayPal, Venmo, on our website, and you can attend. We have fundraisers every year, so definitely come check out one of our tax sales or our Deck the Stalls event in December. So definitely check those out. Volunteering is always an opportunity around here. If you can't volunteer directly at the rescue, if you have skills in social media or skills in accounting or fundraising, definitely let us know via email. That's always super helpful. And just spreading the word about horses. Most people don't know what a kill buyer is. Most people don't know. Oftentimes when I say that I volunteered at horse rescue, people say, I didn't know that horses needed to get rescued. Like, I thought that they were good. I didn't know that was needed. So just spreading the word, letting people know, like, sharing this, sharing our website, resharing any adoptable horse posts to your community so that folks can hear more about the horses we have available. All of that's super helpful. There's a lot of free and paid and all kinds of volunteer opportunities. So just check out our website. We've got lots going on there and would love any help that anyone can provide.
I hope that you get a lot of support and a lot of help wherever you require, and continue doing the good work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
I read this quote somewhere. It says, "The essential joy of being with horses is that it brings us in contact with the rare elements of grace, beauty, grit, spirit, and freedom." So all those four qualities, just being with a horse. Thank you so much, Colleen. That was an insightful talk. I gained so much from talking to you today, and I know a few things about how to approach a horse.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. Definitely check us out online, reach out if you have any questions, and thanks so much for the time getting to talk about our amazing rescue horses.
My pleasure.